It had been snowing and sleeting for days. I'd hunkered down in a cute and cozy hotel in West Yellowstone, hoping to wait it out. But I needed to get moving. North. Ever north. My car, as you can guess, is not suited for weather. Weather of any kind, really, but especially the cold and snowy kind. Lightweight and rear-wheel drive, it's the opposite of what you'd want in slippery conditions. But it had gotten me this far, crossing over the Continental Divide multiple times. I set out in the early morning, the skies and weather looking bleak. This was always going to be one of the longest driving days of my trip, and with conditions worsening, I resolved to take it slow. 401 miles would take nearly 7 hours anyway, so what's another 2 for caution? Surprisingly, thankfully, there were only a few moments of concern. One snowy flat valley held the fog and snow, while the 2-lane blacktop carving down the middle was an endless parade of trucks. Harrowing for sure, but I'd driven in worse. From there, the skies didn't clear so much as remain ominous. The small state roads weave their way along the valley floors where they can, then pop over sharp hills where they can't. Eventually, surprisingly, the gray turned to blue, and the little fluffy clouds marked a brief weather window I was more than happy to enjoy. My route would take me along the entire eastern edge of Flathead Lake, but just before that, I stumbled upon something rather unexpected. In the middle of a green agricultural valley, a Buddha. Not just 1 or 10 or even 100. The garden of 1,000 Buddhas might, at first glance, seem some kind of tourist trap, except there are no tickets to buy. Your souvenir is a moment of peace in a valley ringed with jagged, snow-covered peaks. It was, to put it simply, serene. Soon I arrived in West Glacier, the main entrance to Glacier National Park. I was early, but not by hours, but weeks. This far north, and this high in altitude, meant the park still had significant snow during my visit. The main attraction of the park, the Going to the Sun Road, is no doubt incredible, but I wasn't going to see it this trip. This wasn't a surprise. When I'd left LA, this outcome seemed likely, and as the days and weeks went on, it became a certainty. There's still plenty to see in this park, though. Lake McDonald, the largest lake in Glacier National Park, is 10 miles long, but only a mile wide. It was remarkably still during my visit, a mirror to the mountains beyond. Just past its northern shore is the start of one of the best hikes I've ever done. You ascend up through the woods, along the edge of a narrow valley, to Avalanche Lake. I wheezed my way up, past flattened trees, perched mountain goats, and, after nearly face-planting in ankle-deep mud, what I saw made it all worthwhile. The mountains drop almost vertically into the lake, cradling it like nothing I'd ever seen before. It was a type of reward that drives hikers to do that thing they do. I found a fallen tree, sat, and ate a packed lunch. Then I just sat there some more. No music, no phone, just the peace and quiet of a mountain lake. The next day, I drove around the park. Like, literally, around the park. The Going to the Sun Road cuts straight through, but since that was impassable, I headed south, then went around to the east entrance. Not quite the same, for sure, but the drive was still epic. As in, pull over and marvel at the view epic. I even crunched through the snow to get a few shots of the peaks towering above Two Medicine Lake. I'd had an idea I could park near this other entrance and maybe walk along the road until I found the snow. Instead, I was greeted by a sign that said go no further because of bears. Hungry, cranky bears. As luck would have it, a bicyclist was heading from that direction, and some people near me asked him if he had seen any bears. Perhaps they were as incredulous of the sign as me. "Oh yeah," he said. "Just around the bend. Whole family right on the road." So yeah, I'm good. Sunset, I sat down once again, this time on the pebble-strewn shore of St. Mary Lake, then headed back to the lodge. The next day it was time for a new direction. West. Seattle, and then points even further north. Part 2 of this adventure awaits.